Hello, today I'm going to talk about Naruto, but I will only mean the beginnings of Naruto. Let's say the first few series. But to the point, I'm going to have to start a little earlier in my life, because the root of the whole thing is in watching Animax. For those who don't know, it was a paid TV channel that ran every day after 8 o'clock in the evening. I don't know exactly when I started watching it, but when I was 10 years old at the latest, because my mother wasn't very strict about the time I got to the bed. And just one of those shows was Naruto. My brother and I loved him. But in the spring of 2014, when I was 12, Animax ceased to operate in the Czech Republic. It was a big blow to me, but I can talk about it some other time. That summer, I went to a camp with the theme of MASH, and sometime at the beginning, they took middle-aged children on a separate program where at one point they wanted from each of us to show how many push-ups we can do. I think that was perhaps the first time anyone ever wanted them from me. I know my chest began to fall, but as I tried to pull myself up, my arms started shaking and I fell to the ground again in the middle of the ascent. I didn't do a single one, and in front of everyone. Leader then just told me, "You should strengthen your arms." It occurred to me later that I was probably not that weaker than the other children. I remembered that when I started to push up, the leaders praised me for how nice I had it. Rather, I just went to it properly, without lifting my ass, even though it doesn't change anything about the fact that I was weak. Interestingly, Dan also became something like my role model during that camp. But even more interesting was the fact of effect of his sentence on me. It sounded in my head for a long time, and I felt that no one had ever told me anything like that in my life. I went to the pool bar that day and practiced there for so long that my whole body hurt. Of course, I didn't make any real pull-up, but since then I've spent a lot of free time at the camp behind the tents doing push-ups and lifting benches from the campfire. Once I was pulling logs so big here and there that I could barely carry them and rubbed my hands because of it. But I realized that this was probably too sudden way of strengthening, and a few people saw me and looked at me like I'm crazy. And just during the summer after the camp, I had the incredible idea that I could watch anime online. And my first choice was Naruto. Actually, I don't know why. There were series on Animax that I liked similarly, like Bleach or Dragon Ball GT, but I probably had to start with something, and it was a good choice. Naruto has officially become my role model. I adored him. He was a loser, and no one liked him, which was way I felt often, and yet he tried to prove to everyone that he was worth more than they thought of him, and wanted to fulfill his dream of becoming a Hokage, and always sticking to one sentence: "I will never take my words back, because that's my way of being ninja." But I didn't like Naruto as such, but all the characters in this series, and my favorites were, for example, Hinata and Haku. Seeing the kids of the same age doing everything to become stronger simply made me try too. Dan's words ignited a desire to become stronger in me, and watching Naruto kept that desire in me. It was like getting stronger together with the characters. There were times when I was lifting dumbbells, doing pull-ups, even though I always had to bounce off with my legs at least a little, ran in imitated martial arts with a stick, and I enjoyed moments when I could exercise through work. I liked to dig in my grandmother's garden and carry buckets of dirt. I was annoyed that when teachers need to carry something, they always told the boys, and I quite enjoyed cycling with my family. For a while, when I had nothing to do in class, I went to the toilet in break, locked myself in the cabin, and squatted there. I mean, like that exercise, not sleeping somewhere. At 14, I started going to self-defense club. When I found out from one exercise that I had weak wrists, I went outside looking for sticks, preferably heavy, and was trying fence with them and knock leaves from the surrounding bushes. And sometimes when I was lazy, I did the same, but with a big knife of my mom's boyfriend. It didn't end with exercise. I deliberately skipped meals to strengthen against hunger, dressed less to get used to the cold, and practiced walking barefoot, even on gravel. By the way, I memorized Naruto's phrase in Japanese and learned the hand seals. Unfortunately, my enthusiasm began to fade during my 15th birthday, and it has not returned since. I've forgotten Dan's words even before. Naruto also gradually stopped entertaining me so much, although I watched him, but I didn't love him so much anymore, and I took pauses between him from other series. Some also helped me with exercises such as Soul Eater, but the end was inevitable. And now I'm the sloth I am. Many times I wanted to get back into it, but it didn't happen. It's only good maybe because I have a boyfriend I'm really happy with, and when we're both lazy bones, at least we get along better. I might still like to get my hands on the essay about Naruto that I wrote in my 8th grade. It was supposed to be about my favorite literary character, but I wanted to write so much about him. Fortunately, I remember that Naruto is originally from manga, in other words, comics, so it counted, and that was an influence of Naruto in my life. Thank you.